Most people speak to be heard. The 1% elite speak to be remembered. They don't rush their words. They don't explain themselves to everyone, and they never beg for attention through noise. The elite understand one truth: your voice is a signal of your value. When you speak calmly, people lean in. When you choose your words carefully, people listen. When you pause instead of rushing, people assume you're powerful. The 1% elite don't speak from emotion. They speak from control. They don't try to impress, they express with clarity. They don't argue loudly, they state facts and let silence do the work. Notice how leaders speak: short sentences, clear thoughts, strong endings. Every word has purpose. Elite speakers ask better questions than others make statements. They guide conversations instead of chasing them. They don't fill silence with insecurity. Silence becomes their advantage. And most importantly, they speak with certainty. Even when they're unsure, their delivery is firm, because confidence is not about knowing everything, it's about trusting yourself. If you want to be treated like the top 1%, stop speaking like the crowd. Slow down, choose your words, respect your own voice, because the moment you change how you speak, the world changes how it responds to you. Most people speak with one goal: to get their words out. They talk quickly, repeat themselves, and overload conversations with unnecessary details because they are afraid of being ignored. The 1% elite operate from a completely different mindset. They understand that speaking is not about quantity, it is about impact. Elite speakers choose their words carefully. Before they speak, they think. They ask themselves whether what they are about to say adds value, direction, or clarity. If it doesn't, they stay silent. This is why when they finally speak, people pay attention. Their words feel intentional, not accidental. Being remembered is about precision. The elite avoid long explanations and emotional rambling. They deliver short, clear statements that stay in the listener's mind. A single powerful sentence, spoken with confidence and calm, can leave a deeper impression than a 10-minute speech filled with noise. They also understand timing. The right words at the right moment create authority. Speaking at the wrong time, even with good ideas, dilutes influence. Elite communicators wait for moments when their voice will carry the most weight, and then they speak decisively. Another key difference is emotional control. When people speak from frustration, excitement, or fear, their message weakens. The 1% elite detach emotion from delivery. Their calm tone makes their words feel trustworthy, stable, and strong. This emotional restraint makes others associate them with leadership and intelligence. Finally, elite speakers respect their own voice. They don't rush to prove themselves or fill silence to feel important. They understand that if you value your words, others will too. By speaking less and meaning more, they ensure that when they speak, they are not just heard. They are remembered. The way you speak communicates more than the words themselves. Long before people analyze your message, they judge your tone, pace, and control. The 1% elite understand this deeply. They know that power is not loud, aggressive, or rushed. Power is calm, measured, and steady. Most people raise their voice when they want to sound important. They speak faster when they feel nervous or insecure. This behavior signals emotional instability, not confidence. Elite speakers do the opposite. They lower their tone, slow their pace, and remain composed even in pressure-filled situations. This calm delivery sends a clear signal: I am in control. Controlled speech also shows mental clarity. When someone speaks slowly and clearly, it suggests they are thinking ahead, choosing words intentionally, and not reacting impulsively. People naturally trust speakers who appear mentally grounded. Calm speech makes others feel safe, and safety creates influence. The elite also understand that a steady voice commands attention. In a room full of noise, the calmest voice often becomes the strongest. When you don't compete for attention, attention comes to you. A controlled tone forces others to slow down and listen, elevating your presence without effort. Another important factor is emotional regulation. When faced with disagreement, pressure, or confrontation, most people allow emotions to leak into their voice. The elite keep their tone neutral and composed. This emotional control positions them as leaders, because leaders are expected to stay calm when others cannot. Calm, controlled speech also creates authority in decision-making. When someone speaks with stability, their words feel final, not negotiable. There is no desperation, no uncertainty, no need to convince. The confidence is embedded in the delivery itself, making the message far more powerful than the words alone. Most people believe that speaking more makes them sound smarter or more convincing. In reality, excessive talking often weakens a message. The 1% elite understand that clarity beats complexity, and fewer words, when chosen correctly, carry far more power than long explanations. Elite speakers strip their language down to the essentials. They remove unnecessary details, emotional fillers, and side stories. Every sentence has a clear purpose. This disciplined approach to speech makes their message easier to understand, easier to remember, and harder to challenge. When words are precise, they feel intentional rather than accidental. Using fewer words also signals confidence. People who are unsure tend to over-explain because they fear being misunderstood or rejected. Elite communicators don't feel the need to justify every thought. They state their point clearly and allow it to stand on its own. This restraint communicates certainty and self-belief. Clarity also reduces confusion. When messages are simple and direct, listeners don't have to work to understand them. This creates instant authority because people naturally follow those who make things clear. Confusion weakens leadership while clarity strengthens it. Another advantage of concise speech is control. When you speak less, you leave less room for misinterpretation. Long explanations open doors for objections, distractions, and misunderstandings. Short, clear statements keep conversations focused and purposeful. The elite also understand that clarity requires preparation. They think through their message before speaking. Instead of thinking out loud, they organize their thoughts internally and then deliver them cleanly. This habit makes their speech sound sharp, intelligent, and deliberate, even in high-pressure situations. Most people fear silence. The moment a conversation pauses, they rush to fill the gap with unnecessary words, nervous laughter, or explanations that were never needed. The 1% elite understands something most people don't. Silence creates pressure, and pressure creates power. Silence forces attention. When you stop speaking and remain calm, the other person becomes aware of the pause. Their mind starts working. They wonder what you're thinking, what comes next, or whether they should respond. In that moment, control shifts to you. The one who is comfortable with silence usually controls the interaction. Elite speakers use silence intentionally. After making a strong point, they pause. They allow their words to settle instead of weakening them with immediate explanations. This pause amplifies the impact of what was said, making it feel more important and more deliberate. Silence also reveals insecurity in others. People who feel uneasy often start talking to relieve the tension. They may overshare, clarify too much, or expose their true position. Elite communicators listen carefully during these moments, gaining valuable information without saying a word. Another powerful aspect of silence is emotional control. Reacting instantly often leads to emotional responses. Silence creates space to think, assess, and respond strategically. This composure makes elite speakers appear calm, intelligent, and unshaken, even in challenging situations. Silence also signals self-respect. It shows that you don't need to constantly prove your worth through words. When you speak only when necessary, your voice gains value. People begin to associate your silence with thoughtfulness and authority rather than uncertainty. Most people allow their emotions to control their speech. When they feel excited, angry, nervous, or defensive, their words spill out without structure or purpose. The 1% elite operate differently. They understand that emotion clouds clarity, and clarity is essential for influence. Elite speakers separate what they feel from how they speak. This does not mean they lack emotion. It means they manage it. They recognize their emotions internally, but choose words that serve their objective rather than their feelings. This discipline makes their communication effective instead of reactive. Speaking emotionally often leads to exaggeration, defensiveness, and unnecessary conflict. It weakens credibility because listeners sense instability. Elite communicators avoid this trap by grounding their speech in facts, logic, and intention. Their calm delivery makes their message feel reliable and trustworthy. Intentional speech is goal-driven. Before speaking, elite individuals know exactly what outcome they want: clarity, agreement, direction, or authority. Every sentence moves the conversation closer to that goal. There is no rambling, no emotional dumping, and no wasted words. Another key difference is emotional restraint under pressure. In stressful or confrontational situations, most people reveal their inner state through tone and word choice. The elite remain steady. This composure unsettles others and shifts power dynamics, positioning them as leaders rather than reactors. By choosing intention over emotion, elite speakers protect their image, maintain control of conversations, and ensure that their words carry influence instead of impulse. Most people weaken their speech at the very end of their sentences. Their voice drops into uncertainty, their tone rises like a question, or their words trail off as if they're asking for approval. The 1% elite are highly aware of this habit, and they eliminate it completely. They understand that how a sentence ends determines how it is received. Elite speakers finish their sentences with firmness. Their tone stays level or slightly grounded, never rising in doubt. This creates the impression that what they said is settled, considered, and non-negotiable. Even simple statements sound powerful when they end with certainty. Weak endings signal insecurity. When someone finishes with hesitation, listeners subconsciously question the message. Elite communicators avoid phrases that soften or dilute their point, such as unnecessary apologies, qualifiers, or nervous laughter. Their speech is clean and direct, reinforcing authority. Strong sentence endings also improve clarity. When a statement ends clearly, the listener knows exactly where the thought stops. This makes communication easier to follow and harder to misinterpret. Clear endings help establish leadership because people trust speakers who sound decisive. Another advantage is conversational control. Firm endings reduce interruptions. When people sense confidence at the end of a sentence, they are less likely to challenge, talk over, or dismiss the speaker. Authority is not demanded, it is signaled through delivery. Elite speakers practice this skill intentionally. They become aware of their vocal patterns, slow down near the end of sentences, and complete their thoughts fully. This small adjustment dramatically changes how their voice is perceived, turning ordinary speech into commanding communication. Most people try to dominate conversations by talking more. The 1% elite know a higher-level truth. The person asking the questions controls the direction of the conversation. Instead of flooding discussions with opinions, elite speakers use well-placed questions to guide thinking, reveal information, and shift power dynamics. Powerful questions do more than gather answers. They shape perspective. When an elite communicator asks a question, it forces the other person to think within a specific frame. This subtly positions the speaker as the leader of the interaction, because they are setting the mental boundaries of the discussion. Elite questions are short, precise, and intentional. They are not asked out of curiosity alone, but with purpose. A single well-crafted question can redirect a meeting, expose weak logic, or bring clarity where confusion exists. This efficiency makes elite speakers appear sharp and strategic. Another key advantage of asking questions is psychological control. When someone is answering, they are reacting. When you are questioning, you are leading. Elite communicators stay composed and observant while others explain themselves, giving the elite speaker time to assess tone, confidence, and hidden intentions. Powerful questions also reduce resistance. Statements can trigger arguments, but questions invite cooperation. Instead of pushing opinions, elite speakers allow others to arrive at conclusions themselves, which creates agreement without confrontation. By mastering the art of questioning, elite speakers speak less while gaining more influence, control, and respect in every conversation. The speed at which you speak sends a powerful psychological signal. Most people rush their words when they feel nervous, uncertain, or eager to be accepted. The 1% elite are acutely aware of this and deliberately do the opposite. They understand that control over pace equals control over perception. Rushed speech suggests that a person is thinking while talking, not before talking. It communicates anxiety and a lack of confidence, even when the ideas themselves are strong. Elite speakers slow down their delivery because they already know what they want to say. Their pace reflects preparation and certainty. Slowing down also increases clarity. When words are delivered at a measured pace, listeners have time to process and absorb the message. This makes the speaker appear more intelligent and thoughtful. People associate slower, deliberate speech with authority and leadership because it feels intentional rather than reactive. Another powerful effect of slow speech is dominance in group settings. When one person speaks calmly while others rush, the calm speaker naturally stands out. Their presence feels heavier, more grounded. The room adjusts to their pace, giving them subtle control without confrontation. Elite communicators also use pacing to manage emotions. Slowing down prevents emotional leakage and impulsive responses. It creates space between thought and expression, allowing the speaker to remain composed even in high-pressure situations. By controlling their pace, elite speakers project stability, confidence, and dominance, qualities that cause others to listen more carefully and respond with respect. Most people believe that confidence comes from knowing everything, having the perfect answer, or being the most informed person in the room. The 1% elite know a deeper truth. Confidence is a product of how you deliver your words, not just what you know. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if your speech is uncertain, rushed, or hesitant, your knowledge loses its power. Elite speakers project confidence through tone, pacing, posture, and clarity. Even when they are unsure or navigating unknown territory, their delivery signals authority. A steady voice, controlled pauses, and deliberate word choice create the impression that every thought has been carefully considered, which commands trust and attention. They understand that the human brain responds to certainty more than correctness. People are naturally drawn to those who sound decisive, even if the information is not absolute. By focusing on delivery rather than solely on facts, elite communicators gain influence because listeners perceive them as capable leaders. Another key aspect is body language alignment. Confident delivery is amplified when gestures, eye contact, and posture support what is being said. A firm tone combined with an upright posture and calm eye contact convinces others subconsciously that the speaker is self-assured and in control. Elite communicators also prepare their language before speaking. They rehearse phrasing, anticipate reactions, and structure their message to maximize clarity. This preparation ensures that their delivery flows naturally and confidently, creating a presence that commands respect even in unfamiliar or high-pressure situations. By mastering delivery, elite speakers demonstrate that confidence is not about knowing everything. It is about owning every word, movement, and pause, making their message far more persuasive than knowledge alone. The way you speak is one of the most powerful signals of your social and professional value. Most people underestimate this. They focus on what they say, not how they say it, forgetting that perception often outweighs content. The 1% elite understand that people judge competence, intelligence, and authority based on speech long before they evaluate ideas. Elite speakers recognize that tone, cadence, word choice, and posture all communicate status. Someone who speaks clearly, slowly, and with purpose instantly commands attention. Conversely, those who mumble, rush, or fill sentences with ums and likes unconsciously signal lower status and insecurity. People naturally give respect to those who sound confident, even if their ideas are simple. The elite also understand the multiplier effect of consistency. How you speak in every interaction, from boardrooms to casual conversations, builds a reputation. Over time, consistent clarity, calmness, and authority create a perception of expertise and leadership. People begin to associate your words with reliability and judgment. Another critical factor is influence. When you speak with authority, people are more likely to follow your suggestions, trust your decisions, and value your perspective. Speech becomes a tool for shaping relationships, building networks, and creating opportunities. In essence, how you speak determines whether people see you as someone to be heard or someone to be ignored. Additionally, elite speakers are aware of micro-signals in speech. A well-timed pause, a confident tone at the end of a sentence, or the right emphasis on certain words communicates competence without needing to boast. Subtle adjustments can drastically change how listeners perceive intelligence, credibility, and leadership potential. By mastering the art of speaking with authority and presence, the 1% elite ensure that every conversation enhances their status. They know that respect and value are not given. They are earned through the way you carry your voice, your words, and yourself in every interaction if you want to be seen, heard, and respected like the 1% elite. It's time to take control of your words. Speak less, speak with purpose, and speak with confidence. Your voice is more than sound, it's your presence, your authority, and your influence. The world doesn't just respond to knowledge, it responds to how you deliver it. Start practicing these habits today and watch the way people listen to you, and the way opportunities come to you transform completely. Remember, your words are your power. Use them wisely, and you will never be overlooked again.